Hi, it's Karolyn. I'm here to help you learn how to bake and decorate amazing cakes, and in this video I'm sharing with you some of the prices of recent cakes that I've made. Now I'm not going to get into too much detail on how I price my cakes. I have tons of videos where I talk about that, and those will be linked in the description. However, my pricing is basically dependent on the size of the cake and the design in the detail in the design, with the detail of the design being the main factor of what determines the price. So I could have a one-tier cake that costs more than a two-tier cake because the one-tier cake takes longer to decorate. So again, look in the description to find those other videos where I talk about how to price your cakes. So the prices of the cakes that I'm sharing with you are between 1 and 3 tiers, and we will start with the one-tier cakes. Now, just a disclaimer, I do have a $200 minimum order, and that's the starting price of my one-tier cakes. So to show you an example of that is this Snapchat sheet cake, which I have to say slowly because it's difficult to say. And I do have a video showing you how I decorate this cake, and that will be linked below. But this is a half sheet cake, and it feeds about 30 to 40 people, and I did charge $200 for this. This was my minimum price. Now the sheet cake is just a half sheet. There's no filling on the inside, and it was just ice and buttercream. I piped the border around the edges, and I did make some fondant decorations, but all in all, it did not take very long to make this cake. From start to finish, it was about 4 to 5 hours. The next cake is this design, and my customer actually gave me a picture. She wanted something similar to this, and she actually provided me with the happy birthday sign and the flowers. So she just wanted me to make the cake, the white cake, and with the purple bottom icing border. So that's icing. Why can't I talk today? The bottom purple part is icing as well. It's not fondant, and then I just painted it silver and added these decorations. This cake on the inside is a 2-layer torted 6-inch cake, and I forgot to mention I have a video where I talk about when I tort and when I don't tort my cakes, and that will be linked below. But torting your cakes is just when you cut them in half just so you get thinner layers, and then you can fill it with buttercream or whatever filling that you want, and the cake will end up being a little bit taller, so you get a little bit more height out of the cake when you tort them. But anyway, the inside of this cake is a 2-layer torted 6-inch cake. It feeds about 12 to 16 people, and I charged $225. This next cake, this soccer themed cake, which is a pretty simple design. The images, obviously the guy on there, I should know, Ronaldo or whatever his name is. I don't really watch soccer, but he is an edible image. The soccers are edible images. I did cut those little hexagons and the name out of fondant, but it was pretty simple to make. This is a 2-layer torted 6-inch cake. It feeds 12 to 16, and again, like the other one, this one is $225. On to the next one, and that is this makeup theme cake, and I do have a video showing you how to decorate this cake, and that will be linked below. This is a 2-layer torted 7-inch cake, and it feeds like 16 to 20 people. This makeup cake did take about 6 to 7 hours to complete, and I charged $275. Now, she originally wanted it to be a 6-inch, but I made it a little bit bigger so I had some more decorating space. So this one would probably be around $300, but I didn't charge her extra just because I made it bigger. So in the future, if somebody orders a 7-inch round cake with this design, it would be $300. And on to the final one-tier cake. And that is this burn book cake, which I do have a video showing you how I decorate this, and that will be linked below. This is a quarter sheet cake, and I cut it in half and then stacked one half on top of the other and filled the center part with buttercream. That way I could build it a little taller. And this feeds about 20 to 25 people. And just doing the doodle on the top of the book took about an hour. The entire time to make and decorate this cake was probably about 7 or 8 hours. And how much did I charge? This one was $325. On to the 2-tier cakes. And let's start with this simple cake design, which is so pretty. This white cake with a pink bow, and I was actually given this picture and asked to do something similar. And whenever people give me pictures of cakes, I always let them know I can do something similar. It won't be exact because artistic expression always varies. I can rarely even copy exactly my own cake designs, let alone someone else. The cake on the inside is a 2-layer torted 5-inch, and the bottom tier is a 2-layer torted 7-inch, and it feeds about 25 to 30 people. This one did not take too long to bake and decorate, so the total time I was working on this was about 4 to 5 hours. And this one was $320. The next 2-tier cake is this Valentine's birthday cake. And I had an issue with this cake, and I did film it. I have a video showing you. I messed up that drip, and I had to scrape it all off and start all over. So that video will be linked below. This cake on the inside, like that other cake, is the top tier is a 2-layer torted 5-inch. The bottom tier is a 2-layer torted 7-inch, and it feeds about 25 to 30 people. And this one took a little longer to make because I messed up with that drip. So this one I was probably working on for about 8 to 9 hours when it probably should have taken like 2 hours less. And this one was $360. All right, this next cake was a nightmare for me, and I don't even want to look at it. So I was given a picture of this cake and asked to replicate it. And you ever get a picture and you look at a cake, you're like, yeah, I can do that. And when you start to work on it, it's a nightmare. So I made this cake for one of my friends. I did not charge her full price, and it ended up taking me forever. This is my interpretation of the design. It is very similar. However, those stinking helmets, oh my, I never want to make them again. This is why I don't make 3D decorations, and to make a helmet in 2D, like that doesn't really work. And then I put the pink pom-pom on the wrong side, and I had to switch them. It was just a mess. Those little lines on the bottom tier on the football, those took forever. Everything just took so long to make. So the cake on the inside, the top tier is a 2-layer torted 6-inch. The bottom tier is a 2-layer torted 8-inch, and it feeds about 30 to 40 people. And this one I only charged $375. If I had to make it again, which I'm never going to make it again, I'm not even going to post the picture because I don't want anyone to ask me to make this, but I would probably charge about $475 to $500 because I'm throwing an annoyance fee in there because this cake was so annoying to make and I never want to make it again. The next cake is this 2-tier cake. The top tier is a 2-layer torted 5-inch. The bottom tier is a 2-layer torted 7-inch, and it feeds about 25 to 30 people. And I do have a video showing you how I make that fondant flag. That will be linked below. This one took about 7 to 8 hours to make, and I charged $400. And the last 2-tier cake is this Winter Wonderland cake, and I do have a video showing you how I decorate this, and that will be linked below. The top tier is a 3-layer not torted 5-inch. And the bottom tier is a 4-layer, not torted, double barrel 7-inch cake. That was a lot to say, but I do explain. I have a video showing you how I make a double barrel cake, and that will be linked below. But these double barrel cakes are essentially 2 tiers of the same size, iced into one tall tier. And I made it this way so I had a lot of extra decorating space. This one doesn't look like it took that long to make, but it did take a while to do. I probably worked on this for about 10 to 12 hours. It feeds 45 to 50 people, and this one was $600. On to the 3-tier cakes. This next cake, I do have a story about this one that I want to share with you, but I was given this picture and asked to recreate something similar. She wanted an M initial on the top of the cake, and she didn't like the flowers. She wanted little fondant balls in place of the flowers. Now, I was going to film this cake, but I thought this is such a simple design. No one's even going to like it. I wasn't even going to post this cake. And of course, it's always the cakes that you don't think that anyone's going to like. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's so elegant, so great. Did you film it? And I didn't film it. I'm sorry. Like, I just thought that no one would be interested to see how I made this one. And now I learned my lesson. I should just turn my camera on just in case so I have the footage. But anyway, this cake on the inside is all 3 layers are 2-layer torted cakes. And it's a 5-inch, 7-inch, and 9-inch. It feeds 50 to 60 people. This one didn't take too long to make. It was probably between 6 to 7 hours. And I only charged $500 for this. I probably could have got about $550 for it. Now, just a quick story. The lady who ordered this cake, she was so sweet, and this was her first time ever ordering a cake, and she was very nervous. So she called me like 2 days before the party and asked me if she could stop by my house like an hour before the party started so she could see the cake. She was just really nervous and wanted to make sure that the cake looked right. And I could tell that I had to calm her fears about this. So I gave her a call and just said, girl, I've been doing this for over 20 years. I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to text you a picture the day before. If you have any issues with the cake, you let me know, that way I can fix it. And she was very happy with the way that I communicated with her. And I just wanted to throw this in here because sometimes people just need their feelings validated and let them know that everything is going to be okay. Luckily, she loved the cake. And when I delivered the cake, Marcus, the birthday boy, was there. And wait, whenever you hear Marcus, do you think of Boomerang? Marcus. I'm showing my age, but I know there's some people out there who have seen that movie. But anyway, they absolutely loved the cake, and she sent me a text. She was so happy with this one. So if I'm ever asked to make it again, I will definitely film it. So sorry I didn't do that. The next 3-tier cake is this cigar themed cake. The top tier is a 2-layer not torted 4-inch. The middle tier is a 2-layer torted 6-inch, and the bottom tier is a 2-layer torted 8-inch, and it feeds about 40 to 50 people. Now this is a combination of fondant and edible image decorations. That little hand holding the crown on the top, I started to make it out of fondant. There were so many little details that I couldn't do that, so I printed an edible image of that. The label on the bottom tier, the 40 label, that is an edible image. The labels on the cigars are edible images. However, the name and the topper and the wood paneling, all those other decorations are fondant. This one took probably about 10 to 12 hours to make, and I charged $700. And the final 3-tier cake is this Baby in Bloom cake, which I absolutely love. And I do have a video showing you how I make this, and that will be linked in the description. This is one of those cakes where she gave me full reign of the design and let me do what I wanted. And I feel like, I love when people do that because it's like, thank you, like Ross Geller, thank you. But you let me just be creative and come up with something, and I don't have to worry about everything that I put on the cake that you're not gonna like. But anyway, the top tier of this cake is a 2-layer torted 5-inch. The middle tier is a 3-layer not torted 7-inch. And the bottom tier is a 2-layer torted 9-inch. It feeds 55 to 65 people. Now this was the only cake that I had last week, so I was able to give it a lot of extra attention. I probably spent like 12 to 15 hours on it, to tell you the truth. That bottom petal ruffle tier itself just takes like 4 hours to make. And this one I charged $750, but with all that extra detail, I would probably charge between $800 and $825. So I think that's it. Now, I know a lot of people won't agree with my pricing. Some people are going to tell me that my prices are too high. Some people will tell me that my prices are too low, but this is what I charge. And like I say in my pricing videos, there are a lot of factors that determine the price of your cakes. Location being a big factor. It is very difficult to charge high prices if you live in a rural area. And wait, every time I say rural, I try not to sound weird, but I hate that word. But if you live in close to a city, I'm near Philly. So there are a lot of people in this area, so I'm able to charge the prices that I do. And also, something I want to say about pricing, and I've said this in other videos, people will pay what you charge if they find value in your product. There are a lot of people who say your cakes are too expensive. Well, you don't have to buy them, but there are people, I have a lot of customers who value me and my product, so I'm able to get the prices that I demand. And I've said this in another video before, think about it. And I go to the Yeezy sneakers. They are probably the ugliest sneakers I've ever seen in my life, but I am not the target market for that. They're like $500, $600. I would never spend that much money on these sneakers because I find no value in them. However, there are tons of people out there who love these sneakers and who will spend the money. So it's all about finding your customer base. Get really good at something. I can ice really smooth buttercream cakes, and I'm really good at doing some fondant decorations. That's my thing, and that's how I attract my customers to me. But anyway, I go over all of that in my pricing videos, which are linked below. So I hope this helped you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And just a reminder, I do have a KakeAcademy membership program where I can help you elevate your cakes to the next level. All of that information is in the description. If you are enjoying my tutorials, I would be so grateful if you could buy me a coffee. My link is down below. And I would love it if you would keep in touch on socials and you could check out my website. And if you want to stick around, you can watch this video next and hit subscribe and the bell if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. And remember, it's cake. Have fun. I will see you on the next one. Bye.